Well, this is a super exciting day for Daily Dose of Donna because I have been following Meredith for months. I mean, I don't even know how long since she popped up in my feed. In fact, Meredith, and welcome, by the way, Meredith, to the podcast. Meredith Lynch is here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited. And I'll tell you, I remember this really well. I have a really good friend who is, her name is Molly. Shout out Molly. Molly is always on TikTok. And she and I have, you know, those relationships that you have with those friends that like your love language is sending TikToks. Like you just are always like, look at what's happening on TikTok and the drama and the Michaela of the world. And so when this all went down with you and Bethenny, and we'll get into all of this months ago. What month was that?
It was almost a year ago. I'm coming up on my 1 year.
Oh my God, happy anniversary of the season.
Thank you. I think it's like, what is it, paper? Is paper 1 year?
I'll send you a card. I just remember her saying, like, you always can find good bingeable content when you go to Meredith's page. And so I started going to your page, and it's really interesting. There's certain people that release good content that, like, I would just cook dinner and just scroll through your page as I was cooking. And you taught me so much. So Meredith, why did you go down this path? How did you become this like investigative journalist of TikTok?
Well, you know, it's funny. I got into TikTok like a lot of people during the pandemic. Did you start during the pandemic?
I was watching. I wasn't creating at that time.
Okay. So I started during the pandemic and I started doing makeup videos. Because I kind of thought that was like all I could do. Like, even though I'm not like that great at makeup, but I think I'm pretty, you know, been buying makeup for like more than half my life. So I kind of know it. So I started doing makeup videos, and then I kind of realized like I'm just buying tons and tons of crap. And sometimes it was good, but I realized it was like the hunt of it. So it'd be like, oh my God, everybody is getting the Sky High mascara. And I would like drive to like 3 different stores and try to find it. It was addicting. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it became like a scarcity, like I have to get my hands on it, and we would sell out products left and right.
Right. And I think like looking back on it, it was very like reactionary to like living in COVID, etc. So anyway, I was doing that for a while, and then I started to remember my true calling, which is I love pop culture. I love reality TV. Like the first time I saw The Real World Miami, I was just like hooked. Like I couldn't, I could not get it in my eyeballs fast enough. And so I started making content that was about pop culture. And from there though, like I have a communications background, and I really do love like deconstructing things. I think there's usually a lot more going on behind the scenes. And also I moved to LA during COVID. And I think that just being here, and you're like a lifelong Angelino, right?
Yeah, born and raised.
So, like, there is so much that you just absorb living here that you wouldn't, I think, elsewhere. Like, you can't help but sort of start to see it more, I think, when you're here. So now, here we are.
So you started posting, I mean, back, like, you know, a few years ago when you started going into pop culture. Were you talking just about, like, Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber, like the big stories that were all over our feeds, or were you going deep into reality TV?
You know, I think what really started me with the like celebrity pop culture stuff was I started doing these What I Eat in a Days, and I was finding all these celebrity What I Eat in a Days. I was just like reading them, and they were so funny. Like, I mean, everything from like Kelly Ripa having like one chocolate covered almond to like the guy from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend who ate like 6 servings of salmon in one day. And like, I was concerned about mercury poisoning. I'm just going to say it. So that's kind of how I started. So I always sort of had like a little bit of a different approach to it. And I try to like both give a little bit of tea or info or my hot take on something, but also like make it kind of fun and funny. And yeah. And so I think I've kind of, you know, at least this week, I feel like I have my niche.
Yeah, totally. I get it completely. What I love about your content is you're not just spitting something out just off. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you are just like, oh my gosh, here's what I think. But a lot of your stuff, you really do take time and energy by doing the research. You're researching, you're reading, legal documents and the behind the scenes stuff. You're not just going right into what everyone's seeing in their feed, which is good because it's like you're actually doing research where a lot of people, not naming any names, haven't been doing a lot of research online,
Yeah, I feel like because I have a communications background, I worked in fundraising for a long time before I moved out here. And so I am so used to doing my research before I present something. And that's not to say that I haven't gotten something wrong. And that's not to say that I'm a real journalist or anything like that. But I really love double clicking on things. And there's usually so much more to the story. And I want to find that. I get a little in the zone. I will admit it. Do you get in the zone when you're researching something?
Well, it's like a deep, dark hole. You kind of almost can't get out. You become obsessive. Yes. I'm with you.
Yes. And sometimes I'll start something and then I'll realize there's nothing there. I can't tell you how many things that I don't just blindly go into things. And I just did a deep dive on this guy who is selling marketing services on TikTok, or more so on Instagram, and he's charging people $75,000 a month. I probably looked at that guy's stuff and worked on that for not that it's writing War and Peace, but I probably worked on that for 2 weeks. I didn't just say okay, look, here's what I found. I was I want to really have proof. I want to have receipts. And I think that's what, am I terminally unique? No, there's lots of other people out there doing great deep dives, but I think coming with the receipts helps legitimize it.
Wait, tell me about this guy that's selling marketing. We're going to have to go and check him out.
Oh my God. Okay. So it's Dre Medici is his name on Instagram. And he had been contacting me wanting to set up a call about marketing me and basically he was saying we're an agency. And so, once in a while you might get somebody who's legit that's contacting you, right? That, I know that. So
sure.
It's good to just give it a look, right? And so immediately I was immediately no. Immediately when I saw it was a package that was $30,000. I think the one I was looking at was $10,000 a month. And so I was you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get him to email me a contract because I want to see what's in the fine print. And so I email him and I'm hey, can I get a contract for $10,000 a month? And basically it was we're going to get you 300,000 more Instagram followers. We're going to get you in 6 publications. We're going to get you this and that and all that kind of stuff. And it's $10,000 monthly. So I get the contract from him. I convince him to send me the contract. And it's a Mickey Mouse contract. It's just basically he just copy and pasted the services from the website into a Rocket Lawyer document. So I'm okay, it's month to month though. So when does it re-up? What's the description of services? How would I cancel? When do you charge me? And he's you can cancel whatever you want. And we charge you automatically. And so I'm that has to be in the contract. So anyway, I'm just going back and forth with him, but I get him to kind of admit that he's sort of just a grifter. But I think there's a lot of MLM kind of vibes starting to happen on Instagram.
Well, I mean, okay, my former life was purely and only in the marketing and coaching space. And I talk about this all the time, but there was, oh my gosh, we could do a deep dive on the app Clubhouse. I don't know if you know about Clubhouse. Do you remember this app?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The amount of grifters on an app like that are unreal. How many scammers and grifters that literally would go into the social audio space and just basically talk about all these amazing things. And people would buy. People are good at selling. And that's it. And people would spend so much money.
Because I think that there's an idea that some of this stuff is easy work. I've been listening a lot lately, even on TikTok. They have that new thing TikTok Shop where you can sell things while you're making a video. So you could be oh my God, I love this foundation and now it's linked in my TikTok Shop and whatever. And it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I'm I watched an ad that TikTok made for it and they were it's amazing. You can work from anywhere, financial freedom, all these kind of things. I'm this is MLM shit right here. This is MLM coded language. And I will tell you right now, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I would love to hear your perspective. I don't think that it's going to be as easy as they're making it out to be, or how people think it's going to be, to just like make commission off things that you sell in your TikTok shop, unless you're a huge creator.
I think, okay, I have no idea how much percentage they're making off of each sale, but I've been a victim of TikTok Shop. I have purchased like multiple things now because of this, because people are really, really good at just talking about their, you know, what did I buy? I bought false eyelashes, and I bought one of those, you know, hair removal, like crystal sticks. Have you seen those? They're all over my feed. There was something else I bought. I can't even remember. Like, I'm buying the most random shit, Meredith, because I see it and I'm like, oh, it works. But here's the thing. They are feeding my feed, at least. Every other video is a TikTok shop. And now I'm getting annoyed with TikTok. I'm like, stop selling to me. Like, can I just watch content like I used to want to? I feel like it's going to go through a crazy climax and then people are just going to be done with it. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Because, no, I can totally see that, because it's like, okay, do you want to watch content that's like, you know, authentic and real? And I'm not to say that people aren't promoting products that they like, or do you want to watch content that feels like it's, you know, like don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. Like, it's all like a coded message. And so that's not, listen, if any brand wants to work with me, I will sell anything other than Hydroxycut. Okay. So just putting that out there.
Tom Schwartz is selling Hydroxycut, right? Isn't that Tom Schwartz's thing?
Yes.
With his blonde hair.
I swear, the blonde hair is a distraction from the fact that he's selling Hydroxycut. It's so bad. It's like,
what is it?
Weight. Well, I don't even know what it is, but it's like these, like, it's like the powder. Like, you know, a lot of people take those like powder supplements.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, whatever. And like, I also, you know, people should do what they want to do with their bodies. Like, that's, you know, but Hydroxycut says that you will lose, like, it's a weight loss. The thing he's peddling is a weight loss thing. You'll lose weight 2 times faster. That's like all it says. And I'm just like, that just feels like
2 times faster than what?
I don't know. Like, I have no idea, but I'm just like, I feel like this, I think it's probably like supposed to be like a pre-workout thing or something like that. And then you lose weight faster if you take it, but there's no way. It's gotta be bullshit. And I think it's really not great, especially for women. Like, all these things always feel like they're targeted at us.
I know. Well, I'm not purchasing Hydroxycut either, but I'm with you on making money as a creator, and it makes sense. You know, if a company comes to you and says, hey, would you promote, and it's something that you actually like or are interested in, we got to do it. You got to do it. So I don't hate on people that are selling things in their TikTok shop, but it does feel like we're watching commercials all day long. And it's funny because people that like talk just about pop culture or just anything are now talking about it while they're putting on makeup, so that they're selling us like their eyelash stuff or whatever, you know? And it feels like, wait, what happened to just like when you were deep diving from your car? Now we're like a get ready with me account. It's interesting.
I still probably want the eyelashes, but yeah.
They're amazing. Okay, we need to get into, obviously, well, there's a few things that I wanted to talk to you about. For anyone that is new to Meredith, I really want to go into briefly what kind of put her on the map with Bethenny Frankel almost a year ago, Mazel Tov. And we will talk about the fact that you got served one of the 2 cease and desist that she sent out at the same time to 2 TikTok creators, you being one of them, which to me was shocking. And I think for a lot of TikTok creators, really upsetting, because the goal of TikTok is to have an open platform where you can really share your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, and your findings, your research, you know? And this is in every niche, every category, every genre. So what led to those cease and desists from Miss Bethenny Frankel?
I had done a lot of content around Bethenny. I'm the first one to admit that, because I was a Bethenny fan back in the day, right? What about you?
I say this all the time. I think the people that are most like upset by everything are the people that were like huge Bethenny stans. We were all Bethenny stans, and that's why it feels so almost like betrayal.
Yes, that's the best. I think that's the best way to word it. And I think for me, when it really started to make me notice was during like all these TikTok videos she was doing that were makeup videos. In the beginning, I really liked them. But then I started to feel like there was really this spin to them where she kept being like, I know nothing about makeup, and I'm learning with you guys. I know nothing about products. And then I would remember things like she had a YouTube channel back in like 2011, 2012, where she used to do her makeup and she would recommend products. And
What?
I was like,
I didn't even know that.
yes, you can still get it.
Oh my God.
And she would be like, you know, she would say, I get my makeup done sometimes, and sometimes I do my own makeup, and sometimes I like me doing my own makeup more than when a makeup artist does it. And so I'm like, so for you to come in the year of our Lord 2022 and say, I know nothing about makeup, never did it, whatever, that's just categorically not true. And then, you know, she, I think one of the ones that really pissed her off was that she had a makeup line for a while. Skinny Girl Makeup. And
What?
yes. And there were articles about it in People magazine that I found, and in it she is like, I was super involved with the process. I wanted to make I wanted to keep the packaging really simple. I wanted to whatever. And it was all the kind of stuff that she was talking about on her TikTok in regards to like her makeup videos, where she'd be like looking at the packaging and then being like, but I know nothing, right? And it's like, okay, well, which version is true? Yeah. I think the true version is that you did do a makeup line. You have done a lot of this stuff before, but you wanted to be big on TikTok and you saw how makeup videos did well, so you tried to jump in on that. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But then people would ask her, they'd say, oh, we heard you had a makeup line. And she'd be like, no, I never did.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, which version is true? And so what really ticked her off, I think, with me, and I was tipped off, was that she kept saying it's a scam. She kept yelling it's a scam about different products. Like, she would try a foundation and she'd say it's a scam. So I went and looked up her trademarks, as I often do. I love looking up trademarks.
You used to do it. You've done it for the Kardashians, I remember, a bunch of times. So this is public knowledge, you guys. You can Google it.
Total public knowledge, and that's why it's made public, so other people know when something is trademarked. So I found that Bethenny had trademarked it's a scam before she had even gone on to TikTok, and she had trademarked it like in podcasts and in all this other stuff, and that's fine. But what I said was, it kind of feels like this whole it's a scam thing, this whole like I'm trying makeup thing, is probably a targeted thing, right? Like, it's probably like a plan. Like, it was a PR plan, and that's fine. Okay. So I get wind of the fact that she is not happy with that she is upset that I have shown these. And this person lets me know that I most likely will be getting a cease and desist.
This person is a stranger to you? Just like a random person in your DMs or emails? Or someone
not a stranger to me, but someone who I knew well enough to like trust them, and I knew they were looking out for me. But I was also like, okay, well, I'll believe it when I see it, right? Like, because I was like, what did I do? Like, I just showed public information, right?
And you're just kind of putting out your thoughts and ideas. It's nothing that you read that she had this targeted idea. You just said, hey, there's this evidence and then there's this, and I am assuming that.
Right.
It's okay. Yeah.
So I get the cease and desist, and it's very unhinged. It basically said, like, you don't have permission to talk about Bethenny Frankel at all. You don't have permission to show her photo. You don't have permission to talk about her. And, if you tell anyone other than your lawyer that is employed by you that she sent you this cease and desist, you're going to be breaking confidentiality with her, and you will be forced to like owe her potentially even more money. And I was like, whoa, I do not have confidentiality with Bethenny Frankel. Not now, not ever. Like,
it never worked for her.
No, this is insane. I never signed an NDA. This is literally insane. And it was so funny because it was at the very end of the cease and desist. It was like someone had copy and pasted it and threw it in and thought, well, this will scare her, right?
They like go to ChatGPT. They're like, what can we say? How can we verbalize something that would scare a TikTok creator?
Right? And so, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that it didn't scare me.
No, you were upset. You were super upset. I remember that. Yeah, I would be too.
And it's just like, the thing that's so fun about TikTok is like you can express your opinion. And like I wasn't promoting hate speech. I wasn't like saying things that were untrue. I was expressing my opinion. So I, you know, put out into the universe like, hey, I got this cease and desist from Bethenny Frankel. And it kind of like blew up from there. I never heard from Bethany's legal team again. Like
that was it.
They told me I had to respond. So they sent it to me at like Friday in like the afternoon, like late afternoon New York time. They told me I had to respond by Monday, I think Monday morning or Monday at 5 p.m. And I never did. And I never heard from them. But I did take down the trademark video.
Just to kind of protect yourself. But also, but what does that say to you that you never heard from them again? Do you think that do you think she got wind of like this kind of, because what happened was, just from a perspective from someone that was like just watching, and when I say we, a huge amount of people started speaking up about it and started to really almost like fight for you. And I remember even like Valerie Bertinelli, remember how she spoke up for you? And that was awesome. Like so many people that had big accounts were saying, wait, this is not the way TikTok works. Right?
No, and I was really grateful for that. And like, it really saved me because I was really scared. Like, I was like, what's going to happen? And really the reason that I came out and said it was because it was like, I have two choices here. Like, I can stay silent and like this can like eat me up, or I can share that like, hey, this is what's happening. And at the same time, I wasn't the only one who ended up getting a cease and desist at that time from Bethenny. So I think she was on a bit of a tear. She responded back and said that she had sent me that because of things that I had said about her charity work, which was not true. I have talked about Be Strong, and I've actually said some complimentary things about it, but I've also said, you know, Be Strong is not a nonprofit. Essentially it is a way that she does marketing fundraising for a nonprofit called Global Empowerment Mission. I don't think she's lying about that. I don't think she's trying to hide it. And I don't think she makes any money off of like the donations that come in. But Global Empowerment Mission deserves a double click. Let's just leave it at that. But that's not why she sent it to me. She sent it to me because of the trademarks, and she tried to spin it because she always, like, her big thing is like when anybody says anything bad, she loves to remind people that like, I'm a philanthropist. I do, like, every celebrity does that stuff. Every single celebrity. You know that. You've worked in this world. Like, it is just part of it. And that's fine. That's great. I'm glad she's helped places. That's wonderful. But anyway, I think that I never heard from her again because it didn't land the way she wanted it to land. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that she would ever, unless someone was like, and you know what? Like, there is a time and a place to send a cease and desist, right? Like, if I was saying like, you know, something that was horribly untrue, of course, but I don't think she'll ever send a cease and desist to another TikTok creator again because it blew up in her face.
Yeah, you know, there's this thing about Bethenny that okay, basically, you know, she's recently, and I mean, if they're watching my channel, they know that I've been recapping all these 3-part interviews with Rachel. And then yesterday she released this short episode, kind of, she called it The Aftermath, where she talked about her experience going through this and what she has experienced, what she went into it, why she's doing it, and what she's feeling about it afterwards. And she mentions a couple things. She mentioned, and this is not the first time she said this, bring it on. You hate me? Bring it on. You're engaging with me. You're increasing my views. You're increasing my popularity. We're #1 worldwide, baby. She says that multiple times. Yet, I will be the first to say that I had one video that I posted a long time ago. It was probably around the time, you know, after your cease and desist, but I turned on her right then when she did that. But it was just about the fact that some people are more litigious than others. And I said that Bethenny is someone that seems to be quite a litigious person. And I got blocked after that. She didn't comment. She didn't engage or anything. But so let me ask you a question. What is up with this idea of like, bring it on, hate me, show me like, I don't care, bring on the hate, whatever. But actually she's blocking anyone that is posting hate comments on her account, on TikTok at least.
Oh, yes. People tell me all the time. They're like, oh, I left her a comment that was like, hey, you think you'll apologize to like Luann and Sonia? And they were like, I was immediately blocked. Okay, so this is what I think, and I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but it doesn't matter. Let's say it. I have been told that really the people who are doing all the blocking are her assistants.
So she has no idea who's getting blocked.
Exactly. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard like that. And so what I think it's very much like Trump. I think that there is a filter between what she sees and what actually happens. So I think she doesn't even know half of this stuff. Like, I think they curate what they show her. And I could be totally wrong, but I also think they respond to comments too. Because like, sometimes she'll be real nasty in the comments, and I think it's sometimes the assistants, but I could be wrong, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, and I sound like Bethenny now because I'm like, wow, and that's all she said in the whole Rachel interview. By the way, did you notice that she was like, wow, because she just learned everything.
Because she also she's not a journalist, and the last thing I'll say about when she sent the cease and desist is I think what she was trying to do, and this has a tie into what she's doing now. At the time, she was trying to sue TikTok. Do you remember this?
Oh my God, yes. We haven't thought about that in forever.
Well, and she doesn't want you to because it didn't work out. So basically, she was going to sue. Remember, she was like, I'm going to stand up for small creators and I'm going to sue TikTok and I'm taking them on and bring it on and all this kind of stuff. And she would scream in the Sprinter van and whatever. She did that, and what I think she did is she wanted to clean her image up on TikTok. So she wanted to get down any videos that were negative about her. And at the time, there weren't tons of them. It was me and my friend Bunny, who also got a cease and desist. That's very public knowledge. And so she, I think, said, I want to clean my image up because I'm going to be the TikTok hero. And now, this is just same thing, different topic. Now I'm going to be the reality show hero. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it really is, and it's going to be about something else after this too. Like,
right?
It's kind of a cycle, right?
Right. Yes. But yeah, so that's just a thought.
So I mean, obviously, the amount of things we can kind of cover here, but without going into what was said during this interview and whatever, it's more about this idea of, this reckoning of, not the reality reckoning, but almost like the Bethenny reckoning. Like, what is happening here online is very, very different than what we've seen in the past when it comes to Bethenny. I have always felt like Bethenny fans are so, and they still are there. It's not like they're gone. But Bethenny fans are hardcore. They are like ride or die. You do whatever you want to say. You're so funny. You're so entertaining. And I can see both sides because I actually do find a side of Bethenny that is still very watchable and entertaining and fun. And then when she's talking about bullshit, But when it comes to this, when she's kind of on this really intense roller coaster, it's very hard for me to watch. But the comments, you mentioned the comments earlier on TikTok. If you notice on Instagram, because I'm not blocked on Instagram, which I find so funny. I'm blocked on TikTok, but not on Instagram.
Oh, I was not blocked on Instagram either, but I did block myself because I was like, I can't have it come up in my feed.
Oh my God. Oh, that is so interesting that you were also not even blocked. I mean, of all people, you would think. But she has on her Instagram, it's pretty interesting to see. There's a high amount on these first Rachel posts. This is a high amount of negative comments towards her. And I don't know if you've noticed that or have seen any of it. Have you?
I have not. Well, actually, maybe a little bit in the beginning. I did check it out. I did go on my burner account for like a few minutes and check her out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of comments that are very, it's very curated, of course, the way it always is over there. So, the first day that she released this interview, a lot of people were like, whoa, this is not it. This is not whatever. And she was coming back very, very intensely in the comments, like intense. So, for example, I asked her in one comment, I said, because I think her words were something along the lines of like, this is a woman's, like, listen to a woman. Like a woman's words.
Right. A woman's voice is I believe it was a woman's voice is a powerful thing, to which I say, guess that's why you tried to shut me the hell up. But
that is a tagline. Okay, that's your Housewives tagline. A woman's voice is a powerful thing, and that's why Bethenny tried to shut me up. Okay, so you saw that a woman's voice is a powerful thing, and I said something in the comments, and I'm just a nothing, compared to all these huge accounts that are following her. But I said, it seems more, and I'm misphrasing here because I don't want to look for it, but it seems more like you are inserting your words and feeding your language into the narrative so that you have a stronger case. And she responded, there is no lawsuit, so there's no case, so thanks for your input is invalid as it may be. And that's just an example of like a super mean comment that she's clapping back. Like, she's throwing back comments. I love how I see my son. Do you see this in the reflection? My son is
oh my God, yeah.
swinging.
Is he on the swing?
Yeah, he's in the swing, which is the reflection. I mean, like, I was like, what is happening? This is, life at 5:15 p.m.
Oh my God, I get it.
It's crazy. But she's getting a lot of negative comments, and I am like kind of living for it because I like that people are speaking up finally. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I guess in the beginning I was a little like, oh God, here we go again. Just because it is a little hard, like, as much as I like joke around about it, sometimes it's a little hard to see it. But then once I finally was like, all right, I'm going to watch some of this, I sort of was like, oh, this is not coming across the way that you thought it would, girl. Like, I don't know who talked you into this, but it's not landing well. And I think that it just proves to me that she doesn't really know what she's doing. Like, she's just throwing stuff at the wall and she's seeing what sticks. And like, of course, Vanderpump Rules is like, it's huge right now, right? Like, it continues. It's not as big as it was like 6 months ago, but like the whole thing is really big. So I think she knew, like, I can capitalize on this, but like, she's not a journalist. She didn't watch the show. She's only looking at it from this like really one-sided perspective. And even in the interview, I was watching more of it today, and I was like, okay, Raquel would like tell her something, and it would be the perfect opportunity to ask like another question, right? To continue on in the track that they were on. And she would be like, okay, so you think Ariana's ever going to be your friend again? You're like, wait, this isn't how an interview works. She just told you that Sheena's cat had mercury poisoning or some shit. And like she just didn't get it. Like yeah. Raquel's, and listen, Raquel, to her credit, I think a couple times was trying to be like, I have love addiction. I, went to this facility. I got treatment. Like, these are all the things I have. I wrote my name on the board. She's like, okay, so Rachel's the persona, right? Like, I felt like I was at, when you go to the doctor and you can't get your regular doctor, so you go see like some other doctor and you're like, oh God, like, I'm really not feeling, and they're like, okay, so, like, they're just like flipping around. You're like, you're not fucking listening to me. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not listening to me. You're not my normal doctor. Like, you're totally, like, that's how I felt Bethenny was. Not that I don't think she wasn't being respectful of Raquel, but she's not a journalist. It just showed.
And it's so interesting because I think, like, it's all about intention, right? So Rachel sat down with Bethenny for the goal, and with the goal, let's be honest, to redeem herself, to come off a little bit more likable, to apologize, and to take accountability. And I agree with you. I think she actually was on the right track. What I think didn't work out is that she was being interviewed by someone who really wasn't going to let it go any other way than for Rachel to go back into this poor me and I got screwed over moment. And so Rachel, I think, got swindled in that interview, thinking she was going to be looking like a hero and like, she had really come around. And she got molded and played to look like exactly as I think it works for Bethenny's case, and it does not work for Rachel's case in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, now Bethenny's, look at what Bravo did to her, but now Rachel looks like she didn't take shit accountability.
And the funny thing was, when I was watching, I completely agree with you. And when I was watching the interview, I kept thinking about how, like, Raquel was like, well, you know, you really got to sell yourself. So I was really going hard on the show and trying to bring them a good story and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, everything that happened between you and Tom Sandoval happened off camera. Like, it's not even like it wasn't even really part of the show. Yes, the reunion and then one final episode, but like no one knew until they had stopped filming basically what was going on with the two of you. So it's not like, oh, the season was the affair.
No. And Bethenny, as a good journalist would, come back and say, well, let's talk about the fact that cameras weren't even there. But she didn't know cameras weren't there because she remembers she had that comment like, wait, so the cameras were there when the phone slipped out of the pocket or whatever when he was performing. And Rachel's like, no. And Bethany's like, oh, no. Well, does America know? Does America know that they're living together? Yeah.
She kept thinking she was like gonna, because that's the thing. She always wants to crack the code on something. America is finding out that they're living together. And we're like, yeah, like I think even my 67-year-old father who lives on Cape Cod is like, yeah, I know that Ariana and Tom still live together. Like everybody knows that. Okay. And I think that it's unfortunate that Raquel chose to do this interview with her. I think I don't know about you, but I don't condone what Raquel did at all, but I actually thought those last few minutes in Vanderpump Rules where she came forward and said, listen, I really want to tell the whole truth. I was like, girl, that's your moment of slight redemption. Now stay quiet for like a year.
Yep. And Bethenny comes knocking. Yeah.
Right.
Well, she was so good. Like literally, number one, I decided on my show and in my content, I am not taking down Rachel anymore. I'm not talking about Rachel. I actually decided to do that the second I found out she's not coming back on the show. I'm like, now she's done. She's not on the show. She is just an individual out there. She doesn't want to put herself out there. Blessed be the fruit or whatever you would say. Like, go on and live your life. And then, you know, we would see these random paparazzi photos of her, like, walking through the
massage
little
envy.
Yeah. And I felt for her. I didn't post those on my account. I was like, this girl is like just trying to live a life. She looks like a very just like chill, easy, not bothering anyone person. People were turning on finally. People were finally, I think, just like moving on. And like, in comes the freight train.
Right.
And now, I think what's upsetting about this, Meredith, is that like there's two schools of thought. A lot of people are like, this is such bullshit. Rachel can't do anything right. You guys are giving Tom a pass. Tom is back on the show. He's performing. He's living his life. And Rachel came out here and she apologized and took accountability on this interview and like let her be. And what I'm trying to explain to them, and you're going to probably do a better job, is that now, and you actually did say this, I don't know if it was on your Patreon, shout out, you guys subscribe to Meredith's Patreon. I don't know if it was on your Patreon or on your TikTok or whatever, but something along the lines of, the problem here is we're not focusing on Rachel. We're focusing on Bethenny.
Right. I mean, it's too big of a person, and Bethenny would like love this. She would spin this. I'm just too famous to interview Raquel. Like that's how she would spin it. But it's kind of like, you know, and I'm not even disagreeing with like when she would do these, but like Oprah would sit down with like Brene Brown, right? And then it becomes just as much about Oprah as it does about Brene Brown. And that's okay. That's fine. But in this case where Rachel wanted to get her story out there, to have it go through Bethenny is not the way to do it. If Bethenny had built up sort of like a couple of years of like, hey, I have these conversations with reality stars, and then she had done one with Raquel, it would make sense. It would be a natural progression. But that's not what it was. And now, unfortunately for Rachel, people they're not thinking about anything she said that was like self-reflective. And also Bethenny set her up to say a lot of things that were not they were like Bethenny was like, you know, people have affairs, people cheat, blah, blah. Like, Bethenny, how would you feel if Jill Zarin was like having an affair with Jason Hoppy? And, you know, she said, well, they weren't even married. They like, you know, Ariana and Tom weren't married. They were in a 10-year partnership. They own a home together. Like, you're not married to your partner either. But like, I think that is a committed relationship that people should respect. Like, so I think she will say anything to fit the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. I think ultimately at the end of the day, Rachel was put in a situation where she felt like she was really in a trustworthy situation. She was being taken care of by Mama B. And there's even a picture that Bethenny posted on her account today. And it's like, the picture is of the two of them sitting on the couch or wherever, which is, we've seen that, but it's literally Bethenny looking at the camera and Rachel looking at Bethenny. And I'm like, that is it. Like, that's literally like, Mama B, take care of me. Like, take me to the safe place. So Rachel was put in a situation where she was putting all her trust. I mean, this was the get of the century, not the century, but definitely the year. This was Bethenny really won here. And in that sense, because look at her, she clearly got a lot of attention out of it. And Rachel got just really thrown out like a piece of paper and crumpled to the side. And the final thing I'll say is this compensation, exploitation without compensation, you know, high horse that Bethenny's talking about reality TV, and then not able to confirm whether or not she paid Rachel. And like we heard over on ET.com that she wasn't paid, but Bethenny's words on this podcast from last night said, how do you know I'm not paying her? You don't know what I'm doing with her. How do you know? She's saying that to her audience. What is up? Do you think she got paid or not?
Well, I mean, Bethenny went to her, so it's not like there was travel involved on Rachel's side. I hope for Rachel's sake that she got something. I hope that her team would be savvy enough to do that. I think she probably could have gotten a better deal, and people were giving me crap about this online, but I was like, she could have gotten one of the morning shows to do an interview with her. She could have.
No question.
And I mean, maybe like, especially when the show's about to come out again, she could have gotten something. And so there's that. But then also, when it comes to the whole compensation and exploitation without compensation, like, what did Bethenny like dig up her like old, I don't know, American Revolutionary textbook and find like taxation without representation? Because like, it's just, I would not be shocked if she has trademarked exploitation without compensation. I would not be shocked.
Don't say it out loud. Another one's coming right to your door. Another C&D.
But here's what I would say to that. Listen, doesn't mean there doesn't need to be reform in the reality TV space. But like, that's across the board. Like, how many jobs did you have that you felt like they were exploitation without compensation? Because like, I've had a few. Like, everything we do, right?
Yeah, there's, and that's the shitty thing about this, is at the end of the day, what Bethenny's trying to do for them makes sense. That's like the shittiest part, right? Because I do believe that a lot of these people should have protections and not be treated this badly. I just hate that it's being driven through this vehicle. It feels so confusing to everyone.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, I agree with you. I believe that people should be compensated better, and I believe that reality TV can be exploitative. Anyway, but,
it's one of those words that we'll just never get right.
But even a broken clock is right 2 times a day, and like, you know, even like that's kind of how I look at it. And I think, you know, I will give her this. She's savvy. She knows how to get people excited about things. And I think, though, this will die down in, I don't know, a month, 3 weeks from now. I think she'll come out and say, I shouldn't have interviewed Rachel. Now I realize that, you know, she actually really was kind of manipulative to Ariana, and I've watched more of it. Like, now she'll come out and spin it, because didn't she kind of do that to Jill? Like, she sat down with Jill, and then like the next day, wasn't she like kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
She
Did I see a
released
clip like that?
she released a YouTube. I don't know if she filmed it before or after the conversation, but she released it after the conversation. That's like, I know we're going to be friends, but like I can't be her real good friend. Like I hope I don't get phone calls and I don't have Yes. I have a weird theory. Do you want to hear my theory?
Okay.
My theory is that she set all of this in motion through the Jill Zarin interview, where that conversation about the reality being filmed at the funeral was set up 100% so that she now says, oh my God, let's go after reality TV. I was screwed. And how many other people have been?
And it's good timing because, we are talking, it is the summer of strikes, right? Like it is the summer of, and I really am so for what the WGA is doing, what SAG-AFTRA is doing. So it is the summer of strikes. And so she's capitalizing on that, just like when it was TikTok and she's like, I'm going to save all the creators. But we'll just see how that all, if she's still a month from now, 2 months from now on this train. Maybe if she does change it for the better, I applaud that.
Wow. So how have you created differently since the cease and desist in general, not just to her, towards her?
Yeah. I say more often, in my opinion, or allegedly, or sometimes I'll present something even with receipts because, I did get a cease and desist from Rachel Zoe's team that accused me of photoshopping comments on her Instagram, like the screenshots I had taken were photoshopped. So now I will show something and then I'll say at the end, it's all alleged. But the bottom line is, even if you say all those things, even if you say alleged, even if you say in my opinion, you can still get a cease and desist. You can still get sued. Anyone can sue anyone. That's the biggest thing that I learned. So sometimes I'll do something and someone will say, you didn't say alleged enough, or you didn't say in my opinion enough. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter, because if that person wants to send me something, they can send me something, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, there's going to be probably more people like this that are going to feel under the gun or under the TikTok microscope, because this is the way. I mean, we are all journalists right now, kind of doing our own thing and finding things out. So you're doing a kick-ass job, Meredith, and I appreciate your content so much. And you're succeeding beyond, you're growing. So everyone, you guys go and follow Meredith Lynch on TikTok. That's your username, right? At Meredith Lynch?
Meredith M. Lynch.
Meredith M. Lynch.
Yes.
And then Instagram is the same?
Same thing. Same bad channel.
All right,
Thank
Meredith.
you so much for having me.
Of course. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.